What were the key messages that you wanted to get across tonight about the project?
There are several. It's with respect to St. Michael's Church rejuvenation. First of all, that the entire community should feel empowered to come forward and take part in any way they feel comfortable. We are not closing the door to anyone. Secondly, the project has to serve a practical purpose, should be of benefit, but we would like to focus more on those who are less privileged, as I had mentioned in my introduction. So anybody who has an idea of how to better utilize that place after development so it serves the less privileged in a more coherent and useful manner is more than welcome. Thirdly, anybody can be part of it. You don't have to belong to any religion. It is Muslim-led. JIMAS is a Muslim organization, but it is not about Islam as such in particular. The Islamic factor comes into play by the very fact that we are accommodating and trying to integrate with the rest of the community in a project of common good, and that is entirely Islamic to us. And so if you want to discuss God and so forth, that's how it comes about. And the fourth and final thing is there's no right time to join, but it's always best to join at the outset. But if 6 months later you change your mind and you want to pull out because you think it's not going the way you want it to go, that's not objectionable but a pity. But 6 months later perhaps you'll want to join in, and then you are more than welcome again, because the more people take part, get on board, the better I think the final outcome would be.
One of the comments from the speakers at the start from the Prince's Regeneration Trust was how impressed he was with the breadth of support that you have at an early stage as this, which I guess is a compliment to JIMAS and its pulling power, but also to the strength of the community that does exist in Ipswich.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, it's not so much about JIMAS, rather it speaks for Ipswich itself and the people who live in it, that they can be supportive, broad-minded, and have principles which support ideas of values like this. So yes, you're entirely correct on that. The point about support, widespread support, is it actually has a humbling experience, or a humbling effect on us, because it makes us to think twice over about how genuine are we? Are we playing tricks? Are we going to renege and turn tail, as I say? So hopefully the more support people show, the more expectations they have on us. It should also serve as a check against us perhaps becoming wayward with how we started and then becoming selfish or narrow-minded about the outcomes again, because now we get this support, perhaps money is coming through, things are beginning to happen, and we begin to become more narrow, and that should not happen, should not be allowed to happen.
I mean, you talk about narrowness. In the climate that we're in with money and finances, it is easy for different groups to focus on their own rather than the wider community. And this project is the direct opposite of that.
And that's very true, and people have to focus on their own first, because if they don't preserve what good they are doing, then they can't support other good that is happening by themselves. So they have to do that, but the nature of this project and JIMAS itself is such that we are not doing anything particular as such which needs maintaining. We are trying to open up to the entire community a service which would not only enhance the image of certain people, Muslims let's say, what Islam stands for, but practically bring benefit to everyone. So everybody can have a buy-in, they can contribute financially if they want, small amounts, a certain small percentage. But at the end of the day, it is not about trying to take away from anyone else's crucial projects which are serving the community, but it's more about doing something by another group which do not depend so much on those projects for either their livelihood or other means or types, aspects of survival.
And what was it about St. Michael's that attracted you at the start?
Because it was a derelict church, Victorian church. It might not be so stupendous in terms of its grandeur and effect and so forth, but that was one of the main reasons why we bought the place, because we want to restore a church, show that we can preserve our culture, that we are in support of rejuvenating what can be easily lost owing to lack of money or interest, and it's part of our heritage. Although it's not that ancient, it's still part of a heritage, and the Victorian era, that's a different discussion of course, has a lot to offer, a lot of lessons to learn from and reminisce about or be nostalgic about. Yes.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you.